Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I tried to get down here so I could show you guys the sunset, but it didn't turn out too well. I just got here a little too late. What a bummer. Anyway, here, I'll spin around and show it to you guys. What's left of the skies here. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, thought I'd come out here today and talk a little bit about the Federal Reserve and what's going on with the fund rates. So the Federal Reserve maintains or tries to maintain a what they call the Fed fund rate. And right now that's 2.25% to 2.5%. Now, what this means is the big banks of the world, like the Goldman Sachs and JP Morgans and guys like those, when they have excess reserves, they loan those excess reserves over to the guys who are in need of them on an overnight basis. So at the end of the day, the ones who have it lend it to the ones who need it till everybody balances out for the next day to do business. Now, this rate that they end up lending the money to each other, that's called the effective fund rate. And they shoot for the fund rate of 2.25% to 2.5%, or whatever the Fed is trying to shoot for at the time. And the way the Fed typically maintains this is by pulling securities on and off their balance sheet until they can adjust, the balance sheets until they finally, maintain this interest rate. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But just recently, they have gone into what they refer to as the abundant reserve system, or the floor system is another way they, another name that they call this. And pretty much all the banks have abundant reserves. They don't need to lend money to each other on an overnight basis. So what ends up happening is that they have excess reserves, and those excess reserves sit at the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve then has an interest rate called the interest on excess reserves. And that is basically the ceiling at the Federal Reserve. This is how much they'll pay you, right, for having a deposit with them. And then they have also the overnight reverse repo rate, which is basically the floor of kind of the same idea, so that they can maintain this kind of channel of interest rates between the reverse repo rate and the interest on excess reserves. I know this is getting complicated fast, guys, but right now what you're seeing is the effective fund rate is starting to encroach up onto the upper end of the target rate of 2.5%. Right? It's like, I think it's, last time I looked, it was around 2.4 something. Just getting real close to that 2.5%. The reasons why this is alarming to a lot of people out there is because typically in the past, when this happened, or the last time this happened with the Federal Reserve, they ended up raising interest rates a quarter point, and the interest on excess reserves, they raised up 0.2%. So this could be an argument for the Federal Reserve setting up the possibility, or the possibility setting up for the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates. Just a possibility. Uneducated Economist, we'll talk to you later.